Greetings and salutations, divers old and new. So, this is really just for my friend, but I figured I'd actually record it and put it up for, for content. But, this is the definitive Helldivers 2 Armory list. It's right now the squids are the big problem at time of recording, so this is for the squids. Because I feel like we're going to be fighting Illumina for a while. So as you can see here, before we do anything, this is the entire, Armory bling bling blob. So, this is purely for the squids, and then I'm going to have bots part 2, and then I'm going to have a bug part in here, and then that's going to be all the factions. We're going to start with the squids, okay? So, I want to preface this right now with, when it comes to fighting the Illuminate, every weapon is viable against the Illuminate in some way. That's what makes them the most fun faction, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, my 1,000-hour opinion. So let's just start at the top here with the AR-23 Liberator. This is the workhorse, okay? The Seaf boys carry, Seaf men and women, sorry. The Seaf men and women carry it. A lot of players carry it as a meme sometimes because it doesn't hold up anymore. There is no finer C-tier weapon though, in my opinion. It is like the definitive C-tier weapon. Next up is the Lib Pen, or the Liberator Penetrator. Now, we have weapon customization now. So the Liberator Penetrator can kind of be a little better than it usually is. I personally do not think it's that great of a weapon. The 60 damage it puts out is not enough. The fact you need a drum mag to make it really, so pretty much you have to grind the entire weapon out to really get it to where it should be. I think there's a better choice if you want a medium penetrating weapon. However, if you don't have a war bond, this is a damn fine weapon to have. I'm gonna have to give it B tier. Now, the Lib Concussive. Sadly, even with weapon customization, this weapon is still not good. It is a huge niche filler, and that's all I can. You know what? I'm gonna take F out because I don't think there's any F tier weapon. We're just gonna put him in niche. The Liberator Concussive is gonna go in niche. The fire rate's slow. It does have a drum mag by default, but the bullets do not put out the damage to really kill enemies. You're more stunning enemies. Unless you're hitting them in the head. Then you'll put them down quicker, I guess. Now, mind you, this does mean if you're hitting a Voteless, you'll stun them. But if you're stunning Voteless, bro, we got a problem. You should be killing the Voteless. That being said, though, if you strip the armor, I'm pretty sure if you strip the armor from an overshoot, you can trap him in a stun lock then. But either way, moving on. The Sta 52. Now, this is a weapon coveted by many, owned by few, because it's one of the rare kill zone weapons, and it's not the free one. You had to buy this. I have it. Because I grinded so many super credits to have all the kill zone stuff. It's pretty much the Liberator with like a super drum mag. That's how I would describe it. It's not a bad weapon. But without customization, personally, this is just me. With all the weapons to grind out, I have no incentive to run the kill zone weapons right now. But I do have a soft spot for this weapon. I do like to sometimes, dress up in the Helgist armor and go down there. Again, bigger magazines, I guess we'll give it in B tier. Light armor pen is weird to be in B tier. The Liberator Carbine. I have had a soft spot for this weapon ever since Viper Commandos dropped, and it was the second weapon I maxed out. The first one was the double-edged sickle. Then I maxed out the Liberator Carbine. With the drum mag, this thing is crazy. This is like a 45-round stalwart, pretty much. It will stop anything in your path. I think it's a great weapon. If you grind it, it's an underrated weapon. B tier. I might even put it above the Sta 52. The Tenderizer. This is not the front it shines on. There's another front that the Tenderizer shines on. Restrictive mag. However, it does hit damn hard. 105 damage a shot. And this thing can fire hella fast. If you hit your targets, you're going to drop almost anything super fast. Tenderizer is going to have to be in C tier, though. The Adjudicator. Everything the Liberator Penetrator wants to be until it's maxed out. There's not any magazine upgrades for the Adjudicator. However, it has a 30-round mag, and the default Liberator Penetrator has a 45-round mag, and they do the same amount of damage per mag. I am more in the able to do more damage and less is better, and I personally prefer the Adjudicator. And I think it has a better recoil pattern. And with max upgrades, it's almost near like Laser Beam. I'm gonna have to give it an A tier. Our first meme weapon, the Amendment. The third weapon I maxed out. I have such a soft spot for this weapon. It sounds satisfying. It does a hell of a lot of damage. If you can hit your targets, this thing will kill anything. And the Bayonet's nice. If you have well, I mean, let's just be real. If you have the Drip War Bond, that's all. I can't even name it by name. The Drip War Bond. It's not a bad weapon. It legitimately is not a bad weapon. If you have the Siege Ready passive to reload this sucker quicker, it's not bad. Try it out. Unironically, try it out. B tier. It hits hard. Well, maybe I should rename this to bad. The Constitution is just bad. No stripper clip upgrade? I mean, come on, Arrowhead. Give us a break. It should... Also, can I go back to the amendment real quick? It should be medium armor pen. Moving on, though. The Constitution is a medium armor pen weapon, but it's a rounds reload rifle. It's straight up meme. It's a tough one. It's fun for meme runs. I do not recommend it for the squid front whatsoever. Whatsoever. The Deadeye. Now, there are loadouts this can work on the squid front, but the Deadeye is going to have to be your Overseer Slayer. And that's all, like, it's a restrictive magazine, well, not even a magazine, your rounds reload. But, again, it's another one of those weapons that hits hard, and I respect that. But the magazine size, I keep saying the fucking magazine size, the amount of bullets in your gun is just too low. C tier. The Diligence. This reminds me of like an M1 carbine. Okay? It's not a bad weapon in any sense. 25 rounds per mag, not bad. But you kind of have to ask yourself, why don't I just take the counter sniper? Because that's medium armor pen. And that's probably what I'd ask you too, frankly. So I'm gonna have to give this a D tier for the squids. Now the counter sniper, this is like the Diligence but sexier. Medium armor pen, and that's all you need to know. It's a medium armor pen DMR pretty much. It's not bad. But again though, has a slower fire rate, so you can't really use it as a voteless slayer. So this is kind of your Overseer killer. So you do with that as you... I think... I'll give it C. The Knight. This is a straight up voteless killer. In fact, if you slay an Overseer with this, that Overseer should be ashamed of himself, and the Great Host is going to be making a dick out of him when he goes wherever the squids go and they die. Oh, that would be hell. The Knight, this is a niche weapon. You do not see a lot of it. Same with the next weapon. The Staw 11. I'll put it this way. It's pretty much the Staw 52 with a quicker fire rate. And one-handed. So if you're a one-hand guy... Frankly, I would argue that the one-hand weapon is a niche in itself. Minus the crossbow, because that's just a great weapon. So, it's another niche filler. It is, however, in my opinion, the best SMG to pair with a shield. Because it's a nice mix between stopping power and fire rate. The Reprimand. Now, I used to really dog on this weapon. I won't even pretend to deny that. But, with the weapon customization now, you can really tighten the spread on this sucker. It just has a small mag. But if you can work around that, this thing can destroy Harvesters in 2 mags. It can destroy Overseers super quick. And if you're willing to just kite the Voteless for a bit, it can work on the Voteless. I'm going to get a Reprimand S tier. S tier. Now the SMG-37. Again, this is a one-handed weapon, but it does do 80 damage a shot, light armor pen. Not a bad weapon in the slightest. Again though, like we talked about, I think the one-hand playstyle is a niche playstyle. Same with the pummeler. Now, I'd like to say, mind you, the niche playstyle does not mean bad. Okay? Niche is just you kind of build a really specific loadout. Like, you are not an all-arounder if you're running the one-hand. Like, you're very... I'm assuming you're the objective guy. You're willing to grab the objectives and run. You're probably running light armor. You're probably running, like, you're probably running a rocket launch or something to deal with it. It's like an anti-tank loadout a lot of the times that runs the SMGs. In my experience, when I play with my friends, at least. The Punisher. This is kind of just one of those weapons I feel like... I know it's like this deep-sounding phrase, like times forgot. I don't see a lot of it. I do not think this is the front for it. I think it's a D tier. I think the Slugger faces the same problem. While it is medium armor pen, it's a slug round, so you're not getting a spread. It's not a good voteless weapon. It's a shotgun, so they close the distance with an overseer, which sometimes they'll just beam you before you even get close enough. Slugger has got to go D tier. Now the Halt, it has two types of bullets. It has stun rounds and flechette rounds. The stun rounds are light armor pen, the flechette are medium. So it can kind of do a couple jobs. However, if you're running the Halt to be a team player, you're in a niche. First off, helping the teams is like a niche these days in general. At least the players I've been getting stuck with when I respond to SOS beacons. People suck at this game, and they need help. High-level divers. Please do not kick the low levels, just teach them how to play. And things won't be that bad. Okay? There you go. Anyway, the medium armor pen shots, if you hit an enemy, you're going to stun lock them, which is great to close distance on an overseer. Stun lock is very important. And if an overseer gets close to the Halt, one hit on the head and that overseer is not your problem anymore. It's the maggots on the ground problem, okay? I'm going to give the Halt low B. Low B. Now the Cookout. This is another gun that will cause a perpetual stun lock on anything you hit. You know, like that's soft and squishy like skin, you know? I think it's better than the Breaker Incendiary. We'll get there when we get there. I don't want to skip ahead. The Cookout's not bad. Would I bring it against the Squids? I'm not so sure. Because, well, when there's a bunch of voteless, you can't really make good use of your big, like, fire round spread. And you have to keep pumping it as they get closer and closer. I'm gonna have to give this C tier. The Breaker. This used to be the meta. I know that's a stupid word to say, that's a cringe word, and I agree. There is no real meta in Helldivers. Use whatever you think is fun, obviously. I'm just giving you a list of ideas / weapons. You should probably bring over some others if you want to maximize, you know, your efficiency and not have to worry too much about sweating. The drum mag probably turns this thing into a beast. I don't know, I haven't started grinding it yet. But what kills this weapon is that it's light armor pen. It does a lot of damage, but it's light armor pen. And the same problem with shotguns that all other shotguns have. You gotta close the distance with the overseers. And sometimes they don't like that. I'm gonna have to give the Breaker. I'm gonna give it high D just because the ammo economy is not good. The Spray and Pray. Now this is actually gonna rank higher than the Breaker, because this is a voteless horde's worst nightmare. It might not be for... Well, here's the thing. If you bring this for the voteless, bring the MG43 and you've just obliterated the squid front. You've won the Illuminate front. But if you were just running this with nothing else, I'm assuming you're doing... I'm gonna try to rank it off that. You're running these with nothing else. It's just you and your stratagems. Probably a C tier, low C tier. Now the Breaker Incendiary suffers the same problem that the regular Breaker does. Ammo economy is just not there. And it's worse in the Cookout because the Incendiary shots do not cause a stun lock. It's just straight up fire damage. And that's not always good when you're making a run for it. So I'm going to give it top D for now. Next up, the Crossbow. I do think it's been dethroned as the go-to explosive weapon in recent updates. It's still a damn good weapon, mind you. Like, this and a directional shield is a pretty mean combo. However, I think it's dropped down to an A tier for the squids. Now, here is something I just finished grinding this out today when I recorded this. The Eruptor is going in the S tier. Voteless hordes, shoot in them. You destroyed them. Overseers, 2 hits or 1 hit. Flesh mobs, 3 hits. Stingrays, 2 hits. The Eruptor is the undisputed monster right now. Now, I know in the old days the Eruptor was a niche. I think it can finally come out a niche because the Eruptor and Star War combo, it's back, baby. It runs the squid front. It's a blast. Try it out. Try it out. Punisher Plasma on the squid front, not really my go-to. I would actually argue to say that this is a bad choice for the squids. Now, I'm only saying that because right now we're on Super Earth. This is not really... You can't really abuse the arc of this weapon because there's so many skyscrapers. If this is an open game, and you're good at arcing shots, this is a mean mortar weapon. And with all the Voteless Hordes coming around corners or Flesh Mobs glitching through buildings, you're very likely to blow yourself up with a plasma shot. Anyway, moving on. The Accelerator. I think this thing sucks. Some people champion this. I think they're coping. I don't think it's a good weapon. It needs a bigger mag or the ability to turn the burst off. I'm gonna have to give this a bad. The Blitzer. Now, in regular games, if you were in the open against the squids, not the best choice. However, if you're running this in the cities, might not be too shabby. You can kind of lure the enemies in on Super Earth because there's so many corners. I'm not saying run it. I'm not saying don't run it. Probably top of D because it possesses some kind of stun lock. Next up is the old Laz 5 Scythe. Now, interestingly enough, this thing has upgrades. Like, unironically, it has upgrades. And they're pretty good. The heatsink upgrades are really cool. Try them out. Do I think it's going to dethrone any guns with the upgrade system? I don't think so. But, as anyone knows, laser weapons like this and the laser cannon do start burning targets after a while, so you could just use this as a dedicated, like, we have a flamethrower at home. I will give the Scythe a certified mid-C tier. The standard sickle. As more and more players have enough super credits saved up to have more than one war bond, having Servants of Freedom and Freedom's Flame as the double-edged sickle combo have kind of dethroned the sickle as a go-to. But the sickle is still an amazing voteless weapon. It decimates the voteless. It does an okay job on ships, like the shields. I think the sickle is always going to be the definitive, like, C-tier weapon. Great ammo conservancy abilities, by the way. So it's technically infinite ammo, if you know what you're doing. The double edge is S-tier. I actually might, but you know what, the double edge sickle is probably the best weapon in the game, given you have the right setup. If you have flame-resistant armor, you can do pretty much light armor and medium armor pen damage for no damage to you. You can overheat this thing to start doing heavy armor pen if you ever have to do anything else. It's incredible. If you are on the fence about a warbond to get, and like, let's say you already have Freedom's Flame, you're just like, oh, I don't need any more warbonds. Try it out. Try the double edge out. It is incredible. Incredible. Next up is the Scorcher. Now, the Scorcher's been overshadowed since launch. There's just better weapons now. However, the one thing the Scorcher has going for it is it won't kill you if they get too close. You'll just take a little damage. I know some Purifier players like to charge up all their shots. You don't have to worry about it with this gun. It has a full auto setting if you're more into a full auto setting. It's not bad. The Scorcher can still be viable in 2025. However, it's really fallen from grace. I also want to reiterate real quick, all because there's a lot of weapons in the C tier does not mean they're bad. This is just, I'm giving them an overall score for the front. The Purifier is still a great weapon, even though it ain't what it used to be. I think it struggles a little bit in the cities, because there's a lot of invisible walls for this thing to hit that may result in you dying or you're just wasting ammo. So I think it's just an A tier for now. The Torture's a niche weapon. I would even venture to say a meme weapon. But if you want the all-black camo, pretty damn cool. The Jar 5 Dominator, this has always been a weapon that I've avoided. Like, this is probably one of the least used weapons in the Helldiver arsenal for me. It's not bad. It is very, very, very good at killing harvesters if you can get close. Those jet-propelled rounds will erase your harvester problem very quick. So you have to plan around that. You gotta bring the right armor or be constantly on the move. I think with upgrades it's even better to get the ergo upgrades. However, I'm just not a big fan of it on this front. I think there's more fun choices. I think we're gonna give this... I'm gonna give it a D tier only because, remember, overall scores, overall weapons. It's not really something you can just keep pouring into a voteless horde, because you're gonna run out of ammo quick. Alright, we're on the sidearms. The Peacemaker, well, make your peace with this if this is what you're running around with. This is a rough weapon to do anything with. It's quick. That's all I can give it. It's a quick firing semi-auto. It's a voteless killer. If you're drawing this on an Overseer, bro, something's gone wrong. You're probably cornered and hoping for a miracle. I'm actually gonna have to give this a low D. The Redeemer, this is a voteless Slayer, and if you mag dump an Overseer, it'll get you out of a situation quick. Low C. The Verdict's grown on me. When this launched, it had light armor pen, believe it or not. Light armor pen. It was useless. It was useless. It was just a high damage, low penning pistol. Now that it has medium, it's a nice in-between. It's a really nice in-between for the Peacemaker and the Senator. And it fires damn fast. So, I like the Verdict. I have a soft spot for it. I do run it a lot. I'm gonna have to give it a low B. The Senator is gonna get an A tier. Overseer head, gone. Harvester, if you really want to have a showdown with it, gone. Voteless heads, gone. Alright, on to the melee section. The stun lance and shield combo is still okay. I think with the full weight of the Illuminate, it's a little more difficult now, with air support and all the Illuminate has. And, well, I don't really want to go like, you can focus on one flesh mob, another's just gonna come get you. Melee, I don't know. I think we're gonna put the melee weapons in niche, because melee is still a niche setup. Same with the stim pistol. I think the medic run is an underappreciated setup. If someone on your team is running the stim gun, be sure to thank them and give them a hug back on the ship, because you know what? They're going out of their way to get less kills to make sure you get more. That's a team player. The Bushwhacker, this has been bad since Viper Commandos. It needs some kind of buff or incentive to run it. It's essentially a hand cannon that you can fire all 3 barrels of. Now, granted, whatever's in front of you for those 3 barrels, it's gonna hurt that poor thing that you just blasted, but other than that, there's no reason. Next up, we have the Talon. This is like the broke man Senator. It's medium armor pen, laser weapon. You get 9 shots on until the sync breaks, and you gotta replace it. And very Chinese of me. Replace it. I don't think it's bad. It's not a bad Overseer Slayer, but it's rough on the Voteless, because you know what? The Voteless gets on top, you just start spamming, and then boom, the heat sinks out. And you gotta swap your ice. Talon, if used correctly, I think shines just like the Senator on this front. If you take your time and fire, this is a head popper. Next up is the Crisper. This is a Voteless Slayer. And a Friend Slayer. No, I take that. I don't think so. Just like any handheld flame weapon, I think it's a niche. The Grenade Pistol, this is an S tier. Most weapons on this list will probably be accompanied by the Grenade Pistol, so you can save your valuable grenades. So here's an interesting. This is gonna be an interesting one, I think. The Las-7 Dagger. I have always liked this pistol. It's a good pistol if you're on the run, and I've always liked it for just if I'm out of ammo and I just need to get a little extra damage out on something until a teammate comes to help. I'll run the dagger. I'll light them up. They'll take some flame damage. They'll just keep going every couple seconds. Underrated weapon. Try it out. B tier. Ultimatum's been nerfed again. I mean, what the fuck is the point already? Like, can we stop? Yeah, granted, it's still good on the squid front, but there's a certain front where it's ruined, and no one's gonna ever bring it ever again, unless they're making a meme. I mean, so here's the thing with the ultimatum. There's no reason to really bring it on the squid front, in my opinion, of course. So I'm gonna have to give this a bad choice. This is a bad choice weapon. The Loyalist is a damn great sidearm. It's all the coolness of the Purifier in a, well, it kind of looks like a 45 if it won plasma. So, all right, now we're on to the grenades. The Dynamite. If you're willing to cook it and throw it as an impact, pretty much, it does a lot of damage. But I think there's better choices. I think Dynamite is probably a D tier choice, in my opinion. The frags, medium armor pen, but they do have a shrapnel effect. And they can take out if you throw good, you're going to take out a big group. C tier for me. I'd also like to say, the way these are organized does not actually, reflect how I think of them. I'm just throwing them in the tier I think they are. The only weapon that actually I think these two up here are the definitive S tiers on the squid front right now. Anyway, high explosives, the OG classic, the grenade we all started out with. Still able to do quite a bit, C tier. So, this is the incendiary from Steel Veterans. It's a serviceable grenade. It's not an impact incendiary, so you can kind of lay a trap. Granted, it's a 2-second trap, but it's still a trap nonetheless. I think Flame is a damn fine weapon against the squids. The impacts have always been good. They're good in a pinch. If you gotta just throw a bunch of grenades to blow some up, there you go. Same with the incendiary impacts, A tier. Stuns, I think, are starting to not be what they used. They used to be broad a lot. Now they're becoming a niche because it seems like the game's shifting from a tactical operation where you should stun lock stuff to more, I'm gonna output more damage before insert enemy even gets near me. So they're kind of losing their luster. Gas is S tier. I mean, Voteless problem, gas him. Overseer problem, gas him. Flesh mob on your ass, gas it. There you go. Seekers, I would have liked the Seekers, I really do. I feel like I shouldn't be giving them B tier. If you were allowed to pick and choose what they go after, it would be a better grenade. Smoke on the squid front, I mean, I guess if you're dealing with a Leviathan that's ruining your game, throw a smoke. Thermite. If you're bringing Thermite, you are legitimately either just running in the enemy outpost and tossing these and making a run for it, or you're trying to kill flesh mobs. If you are trying to kill a flesh mob with the Thermite, let this be some advice to you. Pop one head. Doesn't matter which head on the flesh mob, just pop one head, throw a Thermite, it'll kill it. But even if you have no Grenadier armor, you're carrying 3 Thermites. That's 3 flesh mobs. I mean, that's not that many. If they're Grenadier armor, you're killing 5 flesh mobs with Thermites. Again, not that many. This is probably the worst front for Thermite. Not that it's not good, it's just C, it's middle of the road. Throwing knife is bad. This is broken right now, this is S tier. The amount of flame damage this thing outputs every tick is disgusting. It's disgusting. Anyway, that's the squids. This is the Evil Shadows / Shadow Strider opinion on what to bring and what not to bring for a nice game on the squid front. Alright. There's gonna be a little jump cut here, and then we're gonna start on the bot front. Alright. Welcome back. Little jump cut there. Hope you enjoyed that. We're on to the bot front now. The mindless tinnies. Clankers, if you will. So this is gonna be a lot different. Liberator, unfortunately, is gonna have to be a D tier. There's gonna be a big discrepancy compared to the squids. Okay, Liberator, Penetrator. Medium armor pen weapon, B tier. Mind you, this is only down here because it's light armor pen. That's already usually a death sentence on the bot front, unless it's like very specific weapons. Concussive cannot even fill a niche. It is just a bad choice on the bot front. Unfortunately, my baby is a bad choice. The carbine is a bad choice. And remember what I just said a few seconds ago. Certain light armor pen weapons do succeed on this front. The Tenderizer is one of them. It puts out enough damage where if you can just nail your shots on the Devastators, you got them. And it kills regular enemies quick. Not that the Liberator and all can't, it's just their fire rate and the amount that they bounce. You gotta work a little harder, and I think that can get you killed sometimes. Again, this is just my opinions. Adjudicator's an A tier. You can put the damage out even quicker than the Liberator, so if things are bad, you can put that damage out quick. The Amendment. Now, I will say this. If you are running this in a sniper role, like if you grinded this weapon, you put the 10 times scope on it, you have just become the team's Devastator killer. You are in a niche. The Constitution is bad. The Deadeye, actually a pretty good choice for the bot front. Now, it's not going to be your mini bot killer. It's probably going to be your bigger enemy killer. Maybe, swap to the center for the standard bots or something. I don't know. You can still use it on standard bots, but you're going to be prioritizing Devastators for the team if you're running the Deadeye. The Diligent standard, D tier. The Counter Sniper, this is probably another B tier. The Knight is absolutely a bad choice. Also, I'd like to go back to the niche here and I'd like to explain my meaning. This gun, if you hit your shots, you will one-tap Devastator heads. If you're playing above difficulty 7, the Rocket Striders will go down in one hit if you hit the Rocket Pods with this weapon. The Rocket Pods weapon 1, you don't have to hit them multiple times, you just hit them once and they pop. It's a very effective weapon on the bot front. You just have to be able to hit your shots, and I can't stress that enough. And I know you're thinking, why isn't the Diligence in niche then too? Because you can swing this sucker around faster, has a quicker fire rate, and it has less recoil. The Sta 11, I really don't think you should be running that on this front. Here's where things get good. If you're an up and close and personal kind of guy, the Rubber Man's probably going to be a great weapon choice for you. I know a lot of people like to close distance with the bots so they can easily dodge the rockets or cheese them. And the Rubber Man with 125 damage a shot, you're going to be dropping bots like there's no tomorrow. Now the Defender, this is a bad choice. The Pummeler's a bad choice. I'm usually pretty anti-shotgun against the bots. I don't think that's necessary. I think this is a very AR-centric front. So well, the Slugger's a different case. We'll give that a D tier. It is a medium pen slug round, so. The Halt again. I mean, I guess if you can min-max and like stun lock them and close the distance for the medium pen, you make it work. The Cookout Flame is not really a good choice against them. The Breaker's not a lot of these are not good choices. The Exploding Crossbow is still an S tier against the bots. The Eruptor is an S tier against the bots. The Punisher Plasma is a good choice. The Accelerator is actually okay here, but we're gonna have to give it C. 9 shots per mag. 3 bursts. You better hit your target, that's all I'm gonna say. Hit your target. The Blitzer, I mean, I've seen people unironically run it and they do okay. But you're going to be reinforced eventually if you're running the Blitzer. Like, you got to really be on your game if you're running it. I guess I can give it niche if you're trying to fulfill some kind of like stun and run role. I mean, I don't know. Niche bad, that's really up to you. I've seen people run stun grenades in the blitzer and like fucking shields and shield generator backpacks. They just run it and stun and keep running. Like they stun the whole bot line and make a run for it. Really weird setup. I've only seen it 2 times in my life. Maybe you're one of the 2 watching right now. It's your niche loadout. There you are. The Scythe, it's a head popper. I think it's an underrated head popper. I'm not going to give it higher than D, but it is a head popper, much like the laser cannon stratagem. The Sickle, kind of overshadowed these days. It was cool at first. There's another D tier for the bot front. Double Edge again, arguably the best weapon on the bot front. Infinite ammo. You can get medium and heavy armor pens, so eventually, as long as you have the stems, anything on that front can be killed by you. So, the Scorcher, C tier. Purifier, very easy S tier. Please don't bring the Torture. Dominator's D tier. As long as you hit your shots, I guess it might be a C tier. It's just, the problem, like all shotguns, it just does not have the amount of ammo needed to cope with the amount of bots you might see sometimes. Onto the pistols, this will be a quick one. Peacemaker's bad. Redeemer's not really made for this front. The Verdict is very, very good. The Senator's very good on this front. Melee, as always, is a niche. Again, Stim Pistol's a niche. The Bushwhacker's a horrid choice. I would not recommend. The Talon's an A tier here. The Crisper's a bad choice. Grenade Pistol. This is probably the only front that this won't be an S tier. Because you can just use like eagle runs to take out fabricators and all. There's no need to really grenade pistol them. The Dagger, my poor baby. I mean, it's a head popper. Just, you gotta be accurate. The Ultimatum's been nerfed. There's no reason to bring it anymore. Now that you can't blow up objectives with it, what's the point? So. And the Plaid's 15 Loyalist, just like the Purifier, this is gonna go in S tier. As for the grenades, the bots are a never-ending advance. Like, they will keep coming at you. They don't usually, like, skirmish with you too long. And Dynamite can be used to that advantage. You can adjust this as you go to what you need. So this is going to be an A tier for the Dynamite. Frags is probably the only front I don't like frags on. I think every grenade just overshadows it, but I will give it a C tier. The High Explosive is superior to the frag on this front. The Incendiaries... D, I mean, you can use fire on this front, I just don't recommend it. Impacts are always a good choice on the bot front, S tier. Again, Incendiary Impact, same problem. Stuns are probably A tier here. There's been numerous times, you know, if you want to be a straight up support guy, if you see a guy being chased by the meat saws, throw a stun. You've just saved his life. Same with Devastators and etc. Gas. Gas is slept on the bot front. I don't care what anybody says. Gas affects everything underneath hulks. It just takes a couple seconds longer to fuck up the bots. If you gotta make a getaway and you want to still kill the enemy, bring the gas. Trust me, just try it out once. You might actually like it. Seekers on this front, very good for gunships if you're being chased. A tier for sure. Smokes I'm probably going to give niche here. Thermite is S tier on the bot front. S tier. Throwing Knife, bad. And then the same problem with fire. So that's the bot front. You can see there's a very big discrepancy here compared to the squids. Not everything really is viable on the bots. There's kind of better weapons than others. Obviously, this is, again, subjective. You're more than welcome to disagree or comment. This is just how I feel. Or I'll see you all back here one more time. Alright, jump cut complete. We're back on the bug front. For the record, I should have specified this way earlier. I'm kind of ranking this all off difficulty 10s. for the record. That's why some of the weapons that you can kind of enjoy on lower difficulties are kind of in the bad section. Anyway, the bugs, bug divers, you guys are costing us major orders. Just saying. I just thought I'd get that out of the way right now. I can see why people don't like the bug divers. Liberator. At launch, it wasn't too bad on the bug front, but as time has gone on, I think I have to give the Liberator... I mean, we'll keep it in the C, but it is very overshadowed. The Lib Pen, B tier here. Some bugs will just, before your gun can even output the damage, they'll close the distance with you. That's the problem with the Penetrator. It's a medium pen weapon, but 60 damage is not enough. Like, the Adjudicator with 90 will stop an enemy in its tracks fast. The Penetrator, if you're not hitting headshots, they're going to close the distance. That's all I want to say. Concussive on this front is a niche. Star 52 is probably a C tier. So interestingly enough, I'm going to put the Carbine in B tier, even though I don't usually do that. And my reasoning is this. The Carbine can output bullets so quickly, that you will shit on anything that gets close. Anything that gets close is going to be decimated by the Carbine. The Tenderizer, as long as you hit those shots, this is a Slayer. The Adjudicator, A tier. Amendment is a B tier here. The Constitution's bad. The Deadeye, as long as you're willing to stay behind the team, this is a pretty okay choice for the bug front. Diligence, probably D tier here. Counter Sniper's a C tier. The Knight's back in the niche category. You can probably successfully one-hand fight the bugs if you had to. Same with this Style 11. Reprimand is an S tier here. Depending on how good you shoot, anything under Brood Commanders is probably going to be a one-hit. Or at least take the head off them, and they're going to start taking bleeding damage. Reprimand, always a good choice. Defender. So, I'm going to put the Pummeler in D this time. This is the only one that's not going in niche. And I'm only putting it here because if you get the proper upgrades, the Pummeler can be a pretty interesting weapon setup. You can have a drum mag on it. The Pummeler does a little more damage than the Liberator Concussive. Not by much, just enough to get kills. Try it out sometime. The Punisher, any shotgun that's KSG, I call them KSG style, from Black Ops 2 and all blah blah blah. Anyway, if you hit them, they're stun locked. So that's a stun locker. The Halt's a stun locker, but it has medium armor pen style. I'm going to put this in A. Punisher stays there. I'm actually going to move the Slugger down to D. Yeah, I'm going to put the Slugger in D, only because with no spread, you kind of got to prioritize the bigger bugs who sit behind the smaller bugs, so you got to sit there and keep pumping till you get to the bug, you know what I'm saying? The Halt, the medium round stun lock, the stun round stun lock. It's an all-around stun lock. Underrated weapon if you haven't tried it. This is probably the best front for shotguns. The Cookout is an S tier here. S tier. Stun lock with fire damage. If you know how to take your time and you can just... Great trick, okay? Go play level 1 or like a level 3 and test out how long the fire lasts on the bugs with the new version, okay? Because fire has been reworked. Test it out, see how long it takes, and then if it takes 3 seconds for the bug to be out of stun lock and the fire goes out in 4, shoot again every 4 seconds. And you've just perpetually trapped it taking fire damage till it dies. The Breaker here, this is probably the only front that still has its day in the sun. I will say I don't see any reason to take the Breaker over the Breaker Spray and Pray. Unless you get it customized. Just because you have a drum mag in the Spray and Pray, that's it. The Incendiary is not as good as the Cookout, so I don't really see a reason to bring the Incendiary, but it is a fire weapon, so... Crossbow here is S tier. The Eruptor, S tier, even though it's a niche. But now it has heavy armor pen. I think it comes out of the niche now and it has its own like spot in the the hierarchy of weapons. Punisher Plasma is a weird choice for the bug front. It's viable, but I'm gonna have to give it D. The Accelerator is a bad choice. The Blitzer is an S tier here. The Scythe is not really something I'd want to bring. Like, you don't really see this on the bug front too often. Like, I think the last time I seen more than one person using it was when we only had the Helldivers Mobilize War Bond, which everyone gets. Probably a D tier. Sickle's still viable. Probably B tier. Double Edge again. Do I give it an S though? I mean, so I'm not gonna give it S only because if you're heating this weapon up, and you know, obviously to take the most out, you go prone, so you don't take as much fire damage. Going prone on the bug front is one of the most dangerous things a player can do, because the bugs swarm, obviously. The Scorcher, this is probably the best front for it, I guess. If you, I mean, it's probably a solid B here. It does have I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Scorcher has like a slight little knockback effect if you hit an enemy with it. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm a schizo, maybe I'm crazy. I just don't use it anymore, so I don't know. Purifier, I'm gonna give it A tier. I used to give it an S tier, but I'm gonna give it A only because this is usually the front you're charging it up to kill big groups, and sometimes there's invisible rocks, invisible walls, and you blow yourself up because you're trying to kill a big group of bugs. Only reason it's an A. The Torture here is probably... I mean, Flame is a niche setup, but I feel like on the bug front, it's a genuine, like, loadout choice. It might not be a niche choice. Like, I've seen squads of Flamers. I'm gonna give it... I'm gonna give it a C tier. Dominator on the bug front, not for me. Viable, but just not for me. I'm gonna give it a D. Peacemaker here is bad. Redeemer is actually an A tier here. Great choice for cleaning out bugs. Verdict's an A tier. Sander's an S tier. It can kill anything. Melee, again, niche. As always, Stim Pistol, niche. Bushwhacker, bad. Talon on the bug front. I'm actually gonna give it an S tier on the bug front. If you are running a light armor pen weapon, just pop the heads off the big enemies with the Talon, then swap back to your rifle, kill some bugs, and swap back to your pistol because it'll cool down. Little min-maxing action, but it's not bad. Crisper, I'm actually going to put in B tier. It's all the action of the Torturer in a handgun, pretty much, so you can stay on the run. Crisper is a great choice if you're making a run for it. Grenade Pistol is almost an essential if you're not running an explosive weapon on the bug front. Almost an essential. Dagger's underrated on the bug front. Just stay running. Ultimatum on the bug front, I think is kind of a stupid choice. I'm not trying to insult your choices, I just think it's a bad choice. I don't think there's any viability to it. Because you could just bring Thermite to kill whatever you're shooting the ultimatum at. Besides it looking cool. So I'm gonna actually throw that in bad choice. Loyalist again suffers the same issue that the Purifier does, so it's A tier. The grenades, again, Dynamite, A tier. Frags, I'm actually gonna put the frags in S tier only because you get more. So if you kind of want to be like the hole closing guy, you bring the armor that gives you more grenades, you bring the grenade pistol, and you're just like you're the hole closing guy. You run in there, everyone covers you, you close the holes, and you get out because you have enough grenades on you to do everything. High explosive on this front, I'm probably gonna give it B. Incendiaries, I'm a big fire guy. I think Flame's an amazing weapon against the bugs. Impact's always good. Incendiaries are always good. Stuns used to be for chargers, but now like there's so many ways to eradicate a charger. This has become niche. Gas is S tier, easy. I'm actually gonna put that at the top. I know I don't usually organize stuff, but that's going to the top. Seekers on the bug front, I mean, I don't really think it's necessary. I think that's actually a bad choice because they can't close holes. Smoke. Niche. No, I changed that, bad. Thermite's an S tier here, like usual. throwing knife is a niche for stealth, and then the pyrotechs are not that bad. Because the amount of damage output, again. So, there you have it. I'll throw up a little side by side, and I'll just name them what they all are, and I think we'll call it at that. Follow-up's probably going to be stratagems, slash backpacks and all, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, give people advice in the comments if they ask if this video gets anywhere, blah, blah, blah. And I'll see you all in the next one. Shadow out.